kind of backwards where I inherit this. I start with this low resolution data, and then you get handed this system for making it super, 1,000 times more resolution. But then you look at it and it looks like nothing but noise. And so it's like, oh shit, how do I take all that resolution and go backwards down to what I was comfortable with before, this thing that actually looks like a clean signal? You know what I'm saying? Because this top one is like massively averaged and still looks noisier than the one beneath it, because the one beneath it is like freaking 600 hertz or something, and the one above it is like 16,000 hertz. So that's what's going on over in Caller 23 land here. Very exciting, I know. That's why I came to show, just so
you could show all that stuff?
Just so I could distract myself from that. Ease, I see you're wearing a Simpsons hoodie.
Yeah, it's
Is it cold out there in Las Vegas, Nevada?
No, it's freezing cold in my office though. But my niece is friends with Matt's daughter, and so they have play dates together. And my sister, they had a big party or something, and he gave these out in a little bag. And so my sister snagged one from me. It's from their 31st season closing.
Oh, really? Oh, look at that. Look at that. 31. That was like 10 years ago now or something.
Yeah. I've had it for a long time and never used it. But then I realized the other day I didn't have a hoodie and my office was freezing cold, so I dug it out. I got some headphones and a VIP pass for one of those Halloween and horror parties. She throws a big Halloween party.
Nice. Who's that? Matt Groening? Yeah.
So it's just things that he gives out when people go to his house and shit like that. So it makes it kind of... It's not something the average person does.
Nice. Very nice.
I will tell you that story because I'm not trying to name drop or anything. I just don't want you to think that I'm a super Simpsons fanboy. I like The Simpsons, and I watched The Simpsons in the cartoon strip before they even were The Simpsons in the San Diego
Back on Tracy Ullman.
Even before that, it was actually
The Life is Hell
panel. It was a 3 or 4 panel cartoon in the independent newspaper in San Diego before it was even on the Tracy Ullman show. And so I go way back with it, but I'm not like a big fanboy. It's not like, I went on eBay and bought this shit. Just so happens my sister is his Chinese medicine doctor, and my niece, who's like 6,
plays what they call it now?
His kids.
Yeah.
6, yeah, whatever.
Chinese medicine.
It's California. She makes
it's legal, whatever's legal.
Yeah.
Anyway, show coming up. I'm going to go smoke a cigarette real fast because show's coming up. Save it for the show.
All right.
Broadcasting live from Subbasement Studio 27 here in the deep horrid, nasty, disgusting, filthy, decrepit, slimy, despicable bowels of Hypercube Laboratory. It's time for the show, your weekly Subgenius Radio Ministry update and Psychoustic Firmware OTA update. I'm Dr. Fox, your loveliest host, and coming in with me, he's not the loveliest, he's the most handsome boy in the entire world. It's my favorite, easy, squeezy, Reverend Peasy. Say hi, Peas.
Hello.
That's the hello noise.
Hello and huzzah.
Have you been to the Renaissance Fair recently, Peas?
I have not.
What was the most recent excuse you had to put on a pair of tights?
I don't think I've ever worn tights.
You freeball the Renaissance Festival?
No, I got a kilt. I would probably wear a kilt to the Renaissance. See, here's the thing about Renaissance festivals.
You know why they?
They're
you know why they wear?
Fun.
Yeah.
They're only fun for the people that have like the camps and stuff. For everybody that goes to the Renaissance Festival, it's like going to a shitty mall.
Well, seeing that malls aren't even a thing anymore, I guess so I guess that's where I could go to get my local. So I can go get my Renaissance goths instead of my mall goths in. Boots just as tall, but fewer laces and buckles, I'd imagine. Now,
it can only be more helpful.
You're a Renaissance man, though, right, Peas?
Well, if you take the fair aspect on it, I consider myself well versed on many subjects leading towards the collective future of all mankind. And in that definition, I would agree with you. I am indeed a Renaissance man.
But you're not what somebody might call a medieval aficionado.
Well, I would say correct.
I mean,
I do like the Tudors and
you
I'm
live
watching
in Las
this show
Vegas,
called
which is
Great.
like America's Camelot. It's a mystical place filled with fairies and dragons, lots of special effects. James Cameron likes it there.
We do have a large LGBTQ community. That's true, Fox, and we're
the buffets are fantastic.
They canceled the buffets in a lot of places.
No buffets? Well, what do people do when they come to Las Vegas then? Surely not sit in close proximity to each other to chuck their money in the garbage.
They do, and they gamble, and they drink the $35 drinks down on the strip. Because, alcohol must be especially better if it costs more in Nevada. You know that it's the best alcohol.
Now, is there a local inflation on the alcohol, like because you're in the what I would say the choroidal artery, the carotid artery of the heart of Las Vegas? Is it what happens when you get in there? Because surely when you go out to, let's say, Denny's, and you order a beer at Denny's, how much does that cost you?
I'm not sure that our Denny's in this neck of the woods actually serve alcohol. I will tell you this.
What about like a Showbiz Pizza? How much is a pint at a Showbiz Pizza?
Again, no Showbiz Pizza. But I will tell you this. There are bars you can go into. There are bars that you can go into and you can get $3, $4 well drinks. You can get beers for $1 or $2. The average cost of a drink at an off-strip casino is probably about $7.
$7 for like a plastic bottle?
No, for $7 for a rum and coke. Beer might cost you $3 at a casino unless there actually has a football game on the screen. Then the beers are $1. But like say Frankie's Tiki Lounge, which is this dive bar. It's super old Vegas. If you ever come to town, you have to go there if you're a Subgenius. But if you go in the morning at like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, the well drinks are like $3. If you go there like at 8
a good price for a beer before noon, yeah.
Right. Okay, and so I guess what I'm saying is depends on what time of day it is, where you're at, and how far away from the strip is it, or how much of a local place it is. Because I won't. If I go to the strip, I won't buy a drink. If somebody wants to buy me a drink, I'll tell them not to. If they insist, that's fine. But the reason for that, do that, is a well drink on the strip costs $17. Okay, a top shelf drink, like you don't want just the liquor that comes out of the little gun. You want like Sailor Jerry's or something like that. That'll cost you $27. You can go get 2 drinks at a bar on the strip, and you've just dropped $50 with the tip, and you didn't give that guy that great of a tip.
Yeah, that's all you had left.
That's all you had left.
That has to be that has to be the most scattered tipping world ever in Las Vegas. Like, you'll have so many people, I imagine, just stiff you because you're completely fucking broke by that point, which you should expect as a waiter there. But then you've easily got people that'll drop you $100 chip. Probably, I would say probably once a day, which might reset you, so you break even on tips. That's got to be an aggravating environment there. I want to go. I mean, it's like the psychoustics capital of the world. Like, there's places I need to go and study what they're doing, because the subgenius element of Las Vegas is incredible. It's like it is the con's attempt at time control. And we all know that time control, while powerful and potent utility in the hands of a capable, trained subgenius, or even a fledgling hypercubist journeyman, the con has turned it into a system to just bleed pinks dry. And it's a bizarre self-sustaining organism.
It's actually fun.
They use audio visual stimulation. There's psychological, almost psychiatric levels of
I'll tell you this: the games, the tone and the lights that flash on the games, they've studied this to such an. Now, I want people to understand something. Las Vegas is known as the gambling capital of the world, but the reality is, in the United States, no one in this country is less than an hour and a half away of some form of legalized gambling. And now that sports books are legal and you can bet on sports throughout the country, it's even more so. But that being said, all of the gaming companies have psychiatrists and psychologists on staff, and when they design the game, it's not designed so much from the aspect of how much it'll pay off versus how much the house makes. They design them from the ground up is how much and psychic's not the right word, how much psychological stimulus it can give the person in the least amount of time that hooks them and makes them want to do it again. And so that's the
Doritos effect.
Slots are like this. People say, I'm just playing the nickel slots, but one game, even on a nickel slot, if you play all the lines and all that shit, is 60-75 cents. You play that game for a couple hours, next thing you know, a couple minutes, you're down $50, and you don't know why you put the last 20 in it. But I'll tell you, the guy who designed the game knows why you did, because they have the reels come up in a certain way, and because the human being always sees patterns, you're like, oh, that's so close to what it needs to be, I'm going to play a little bit more. And they've got lights. There used to be a thing that you could hypnotize yourself by putting goggles on, and it would flash LED lights at you, and it was supposed to make you hallucinate. And that's kind of an outdated technology. I don't think they really do that. But out of that technology came the ability that you can manipulate the human psyche with light flashes. The sounds are the same thing.
Yeah, it goes back to carnival barkers, and sideshows. There's a way to drum people up, and I got very brief experience in that when I worked a carnival style midway at a theme park, and occasionally I would be in positions where I could earn tips off of games, and that would be or not really tips, more like commission. And the one they'd never let me do is the guess your weight or guess your age booth, because they didn't like telling everybody their routine. They didn't like dispersing that, and they kept their full-time guys on it. They had dedicated guys for those games, and it's there's a way that somebody has to present themselves. They have to bark. They're a barker. And they get your attention, and they drum you up, and they lure you in. But working there is where I finally understood, because I would see people get upset about not getting a prize so many times. When you go up and you win, you don't get a prize, you feel disappointed. But what you're doing is you're paying to play. You're not paying to win, and that is the psychology that you have to carry into casinos and any of these other environments. You're paying to play. You should never expect to win. There's no guarantee. The house is never indebted to you. The odds are not in your favor, and they don't reset every time you pull the fucking lever. So it's you're just as likely to win as any other idiot dumping tons of money into it, which it still doesn't guarantee it. So you have to enjoy playing. And what blows my mind is that there's so many people that find it attractive. Like, even though, I lost $50, but I killed 2 hours, blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, but you're still out $50 fucking dollars. You could have. That was fun. I mean, I can stand in front of you with like a couple of flashlights and spin around if you got $50. It's the
$50 is a half strip. You could have fun for 8 hours.
Or you could get 2 drinks.
Or you get 2.
Caller 23 here. You could get 2 drinks for $50.
How does the drinking situation work? There's always the legend that, as an outsider, that's what I hear, that when you're on the floor, like, the drinks are free, or at least.
Okay, so in the olden days, anywhere you went in Vegas, and if you were gambling, your drinks were free because they didn't want you to leave. But now the Strip slowly did away with that, and because there were scams to it. You could go to the horse book, right, and watch horse races. Well, it takes a long time for a horse race, go through the paddock and all that shit, so you could drink $40 worth of booze and bet on one race. So now in the sports books and the horse betting thing, they want to see your ticket receipts. And for them to bring you a drink, you have to have bet at least $20. And at the tables on the Strip, it's the same thing. If you go up and throw out a minimum bet and then ask her for a drink, she's going to look at the pit boss and he's going to nod his head or he's going to say no. And if it's no, he'll chime in and say you need to bet at least $50 before they can give you a drink. Now, downtown, it's a little bit different. If you're playing blackjack or you're playing craps or you're hitting the slot machines or any of the off-strip sites, they will still bring you a beer or they will still bring you a drink for free as long as you're gambling. But the problem is, dude, you gamble very quickly and the girls are very slow. So you've already gambled $10 or $15 and the cocktail waitress comes up if you want to have, and this is how they get you. Do you want something to drink? Yes, I'll have a beer, please. Well, she doesn't come back on purpose for like 10 or 15 minutes. And the reason for that is you've already played that machine all you wanted to play it, but now you're putting more money into it because you're waiting for your free, the air quotes here, your free fucking beer. So you paid another $20 and then she shows up and then you leave to go to another place, and you might do that dance all night and you'll say, well, I got free beer. Yeah, you got 3 or 4 free beers and spent $100. You could have rented an ice machine in Florida and had it delivered to a nudist resort for that money.
They needed the ice. They were swelling.
Yeah. No. So if it's off the Strip, they still do that because it makes sense. If it's on the Strip, it depends on how much you've gambled already before they're going to give you any free drinks.
So there's a buy-in.
Yeah.
And a markup.
Yeah. But now the Strip does everything different now. Like free parking used to always be free in Las Vegas. Now on the Strip, it costs something. Downtown, there's still free parking, but it's a little bit more rare to get into.
Well, yeah, now it's a cleaned up, family friendly paradise, right?
It's not.
Take
and
the
you
kids
shouldn't
down to the bunny ranch and get yourself some poutine.
There's nothing sadder than walking down Fremont Street, which is downtown. Downtown's different in the Strip. Downtown's the old part of Vegas, and it's in my mind, it's the funner part. It's where you see street performers. Although the Strip has its own little spot like that. I'll take you both when you come out, and you can decide for yourself what you like better. But the thing about it is that it's you see people at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night pushing their fucking kids, 4 or 5 kids in a stroller, five toddlers behind them, and you're like, and now people are vomiting now, and they're throwing the drinks back. The showgirls are out. People are naked with pasties to get pictures with people. It's just no place for a kid at 11, and what kid that age should be up at 11 o'clock at night anyway? But their parents are dragging them through Vegas.
Some kid from Abu Dhabi probably, because it's early for them. I mean, that's the like
a lot of people from California do that shit.
That was the
people
Strip. Is the Strip kind of like Times Square in New York City? Is it like a free for all for freaks to come up and take pictures, or is it like just only the clubs and casinos have people out there?
No, not so much the Strip. The Strip is much more higher class. But if you go downtown to Fremont Street, it's very much so like that. But you have to have a permit to do it, and you have to have a pass. It's not like you're ever going to be overrun by people, and it's not like they're going to be aggressive like they are in Times Square. And you actually see some talented people doing some shit down there. But it is the same kind of vibe. There is that same kind of interaction, except it's Vegas, so you might see a lot more skin. And it's all based on donations. They can't ask you for $50 for your picture. If you want to give them $1 because you took your picture with them, they might give you a lip or something like that, but they'll take the dollars, and nothing they can do about it.
So the hustle is still alive.
Oh yeah.
Now what can you bet?
And now here's the other thing that people don't know about Las Vegas. Las Vegas, and this is true, it's an obscure fact, but it is true, is the pickpocket capital of the world.
I'd never have guessed.
People that are masters at pickpocketing fly in for big weekends, okay? Like there's a list at casinos of known criminals.
It's already a city full of magicians.
Yeah, right, exactly. And they go to Fremont Street in the Strip, and that's why I only tell you this is you can't keep your money in your wallet like you're a farmer. You got to put your money in your bills in your front pocket. It's just you have to be cognitively aware because, as Fox said, the bureaucracy of the city's designed to take your money. Imagine what the criminal elements' plans are. We fly strippers and pickpockets in every weekend. It is a great place, and it's a lot of fun. You just got to keep your wits about you.
Yeah, it's something I'm known for doing for extended periods of time.
Philo told me that Bob had an office here for quite a while in the 50s. And I've always asked him what the address was so I could go look it up or maybe get a plaque or something put up there. But so far, he's not comfortable telling me its secret location. Dr. Hal Robbins might know it because he, of course, is the mystic keeper of the church's secrets. But I haven't asked him yet because I got to still pay some of his expenses for next day.
Yeah, we're all still paying for X Day. Are you ready? Are you ready for the we're gonna have to make a drop soon. We got to let everybody know that we're confirming. So I might as well head on to my favorite part of the show. Cube news. We got to figure out what we're gonna do about X Day. Peas. And so I'm waiting on Fid Chuli from the land of Fid to meet up, and we're going to be we got to go talk to Xanthe Octoshroom and determine how we're going to do it. And there's a big decision that has to be made, and there's this one I'm okay with sharing. because I've elaborated on this before, and it's basically how do we ticket X Day. And there's two modes that we can go down. There's two paths. One is maintain it as it's always been. That is a private event for subgeniuses, which I like the idea of. But presented to us by several people, and I've had subgenius saying, and I understand this. To keep something going, you have to do this. But opening admission to X Day. This is a big decision, and we didn't charge admission this year, but we didn't advertise it like you normally would for something for a festival. This was treated kind of as it always has been. There's enough of a buzz going around. It's on Subsite, and so if you're in the church, it's going on, and here's where it's going to be. And we were invited back, and we're going to go back, but we have to decide on whether or not we're going to sacrifice that sacred privacy and actually try to do this as a subgenius event. But Aster 6 had a really smart idea of having the event open until like the end of the 3rd, and then July 4th requiring that you be a member to be there. And next year, July 4th is on a Monday, so that could work out very well. We could open it up to anybody willing to buy a ticket for the weekend. And then if you don't have if you're not in the Book of Life, you got to go buy a membership kit. And Stang did bring some this year, so we've got to. That's what we gotta worry about. And we've only got a couple of weeks, so we can give everybody enough time to start buying tickets. Because there were people that were saying, "Hey, Dr. Fox, weren't we going to do something in October?" And I was like, "Nah." I was looking at it, and I tried, and I reached out to some people, but the only other venues that I could get are booked. And but I appreciate how people were overly exuberant about wanting to get involved.
But in all fairness, I don't think that people understand the amount of work that goes into even a one-day show. Much less X Day like we did. I mean, it took months of discussion and working things out and getting equipment together.
When Fid and I ran Sellout Con, that was a 5 to 6 month process, and that was a
so I thought it was. I don't think you should feel too bad that we couldn't throw something together and have the same kind of quality.
I really don't feel bad about
performance value.
Everyone seems
performance
to understand
value that people expect, because you want it to be a good show. You want it to be something. I just don't think 3 months was time enough to do it. So I have no regrets about that.
Well, and then I'm also worried about which parts of the pandemic are going to play into anything. We've talked about doing Sellout Con again. I'd like to do 3 events a year. 2 of those that are just genuinely open and sell tickets for, and that would be Sellout Con and a Devival. And that would be do a Sellout Con in February, March, so after the holidays, but still plenty of time before X Day. Do X Day in summer, and then come October having a Devival, and using the Devival and Sellout Con primarily as ways to raise fund to cover X Day. But I'm not going to try and plan anything right now. I'm not. That was leading into my next question from my favorite part of the show, the earlier segment. Peas, can you what is sports betting, Peas?
It's where you bet on a sports ball game.
But is it only limited to sports? Are there different? Because something that I've come up upon is that you can bet on just about anything depending on where you are, including stuff in the politosphere.
Yeah, they used to have those prediction markets that you could bet on. They made that illegal in the United States here, but I made some money on that, betting on who was going to win the next presidential race or whatever. I won money when Obama won.
Yeah, in the United States, I don't believe that type of betting is legal anymore. I know that in like Great Britain, they'll have bets on who's going to win the Oscar, this and that. I think that you can go to places like Binion's though. If I'm not mistaken, you can go to Binion's and go to the sports book and tell them, listen, I want to bet that this is going to happen like at the Emmys or something like that. And I don't know. I think they have to talk about it or something like that. But if you come up with a bet, like there's this thing called a parlay bet, and that means I'm going to bet that something happens in a football game. Okay, and so you can say, oh, I'm going to bet that there's going to be 4 first down conversions, and that's a parlay. And if there's 5, you lose, and if there's 3, you lose. But if there's 4, you can win a lot of money, depending on what the odds are we're going to be on that. So in that kind of sense, is if it's sports related, you can do a parlay bet on almost anything. You could do a parlay bet on probably the color of somebody's socks or something. But they'll have a guy do research on it and tell you what the odds are. They won't take it right there over the counter, but they have already preset parlay bets that you can pick from. Now, you ask me a lot of questions, and I got to tell you, people, I'm not a big gambler. I play craps from time to time, although I haven't played it in a while. And I play this. I might put $20 in a slot machine to play with carrots and chase the free beer. You know, because we time it. You know, okay. Here she's coming. Put the money in real quick. Now let's order the beer. Now let's just sit here and chat for a few minutes while we press the button every minute.
Nice.
Now my cousin, a lot of people don't know this, my cousin is very invested in sports books. He writes a lot of the code for a company called pregame.com, which is not a betting website in the sense that they take bets, but it's a website that tells you what the best bets you can make are. So you go there, you're like, well, I'm thinking about betting this, and people will tell you if it's a good idea or a bad idea. You can look up past historical statistics, and he does a lot of sports betting. He ran a book, I think, for at one time, but so I mean that's. If I could have him on one day and you could ask him questions, but talking to him can be difficult because he's like one of those guys that's so deep into it. He'll start throwing out a bunch of bets and words, and in about 20 seconds, your eyes will roll in the back of your head, and you'll be like, "Fuck, I do not understand this sports bet."
I don't understand it at all. I had found over the weekend a list of odds. That were politically arranged, but
I think we should have a derival in Las Vegas.
I'm
We
completely
do a
down
one-day
for that.
show here.
It would be great to do stuff all over the place. You know, I'm not interested in running the only X day. If other people are able to put something on, by all means, you should do it and put it on Subsite and let people know where you're going to be. The Rat Hole did that, and Brambulac and the Bobcord kids did that. You know, so there were meetups across the board. So it's good.
However,
it's good.
However,
that
I would stress, those are wonderful events. They're fabulous activities. But I would stress that my good and dear personal friend Ivan Stang and Dr. Hal Robbins, of course, attended what I like to call the official X-Day function in Land O'Lakes, Florida, where they make the butter.
It was a neat place. Well, let's take we'll take our intermission now. I have one cigarette left. What's gonna happen? I don't know. So stay tuned. You're watching Time for the Show. Today's song is an instrumental by Reverend Negative. He sent me this, and now I'm gonna play it, and he'll have to deal with it. You're watching Time for the Show. Oh, here's the song. Time for the Show, a production of Hypercube Labs. These are our weekly Patreon supporters. Subject Key Change, Bob South, Michael Marcus, Triology Soap, Reverend Loch Ness, Frenchie, Agent Lloyd, Negative at Night, Long Dead, Scalpod, Hazel of the Windmills, Couch Sloth, Caller 23, Reverend 80, Dr. Cosmac, and Apostasy X Fenord. You're listening to Time for the Show. Boop. Hi, Peace.
Hello.
Man, I feel like I need to order new condenser beads from Alibaba. Do you think they carry like CR427 condenser beads? Happy Cube Day, by the way. What did you do to celebrate Cube Day?
Well, as always, I woke up at Cube O'Clock and started to design my cube cake. Now, for this year's cube cake, I used a chocolate based with a whipped cream filling, and man, was it cube-tastic. I then wore my cube hat to work, and when people asked me why I was wearing a cube hat, I looked at them with disdain and said, I, the peas, know when it's cube day.
Which you completely did, and I appreciate the gift that you sent, and I'm looking forward to it as soon as possible. All right.
It's coated in Peasium.
Caller 23, how did you celebrate Cube Day today? So he's peeing, he's pee-peeing right now. He can't talk. He's pee-peeing. Oh. Laugh a minute here. All right, let's see here. Condenser beads. I was going through. What do you get when you Alibaba condenser bead? And I wonder how they spell it. ER or OR?
CNDBLOO_001.
Condensor.
Are you going? You going to Alibaba?
I'm checking out
Whenever-
Alibaba. Here we can.
Wherever there's a R, wherever there's a R, replace it with a L.
You're racist.
Or no, wherever there's a L, replace that with a R. Rah 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 rah.
Let's see.
Rah, 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 rah. Surprise!
Oh, here's some. Okay, looks like we got some condenser beads here. Wholesale accessory, different sizes and colors. 925 sterling silver fixed bead for bracelet and necklace making. Well, that's not what we're looking for at all. Specifically
At all.
for condenser beads. Can you not trust these people for quality electronics parts? I mean, they come.
Alibaba and the 40
quality's okay.
thieves.
Oh,
Alibaba
wow.
and the 40 thieves. Alibaba and the 40 thieves.
I can't. I almost fell for it. How did I not make that connection? Is this like some sort of underground black market? From
Basically, yeah, what I learned, because they have, like, what you see on the website is what they advertise, and they've got prices and everything. But what happens is, as soon as you try to place an order, then someone pops up in the chat and they're like, oh, don't place an order on the website. We'll help you place it here through this form or whatever. Because that way they don't have to pay the insurance for ensuring that it gets delivered on time and everything else, and then the price changes, and like all the terms and conditions are different. As soon as they won't do business unless it's through a chat like that, and then the terms are definitely not going to be the same through that chat, period. So it's kind of fucked up. It's fun because it's just so crazy. Like, you never know what you're going to get. People they've got everything on there. I was buying lithium batteries. By the time I ended up getting the real price from these guys, it's like, well, I could order these batteries for the same price off of Amazon or whatever. Basically, the only advantage is that if I order it from you, it'll take 3.5 months to get here.
A bargain at today's shipping rates.
Yeah, so... yeah, Alibaba's fucked, dude. Like, people try to say it's good for getting low-quality components or high-volume components.
Alibaba is from one of the most treacherous nations of pirates and scammers in the world, of Chechnya. And so, if there's anything I've ever said, it's you can't trust a Chechen. What do you think Scoops McNews Guy would say about the underhanded business practices of Western Chechnyan empirical, what we'll call cyber turfing?
Well, as you know,
of the e-commerce market on
as
the
you know,
internet.
Scoops McNews Guy is Slavic. So he's well aware of the perils and dangers of the Alibaba website, and it brings back his memories as a small boy back in the Ural Mountains, where his grandmother would tell him about Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, and Shishidan's Tales of 1,000 Arabian Nights, of which Alibaba and the 40 Thieves was one of the tales. So we should know.
Thousands.
And I cannot believe that Caller 23, a man of such mental magnitude, that he readily will show you 978 million fucking data points from a 0.5 voltage megaliter that he compounded down from a very thick circuit into a small readable data point denominator. And he would go to a website that has the word Alibaba in it to buy condenser beads. I don't think King of Thieves.
I thought it was King of Beads.
Listen, here's the thing. Alibaba was a nice guy.
Could Scoops
but he
say
hung
that,
out
though?
with Ford.
Could we get
He's like
Scoops
40.
on the record saying that Alibaba was a nice guy?
Yeah, he's so nice.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
please. I just missed Scoops McNews Guy from our heyday in radio.
He'll come back. Scoops will come back one day. You know, I think he's having trouble at the border. He was calling me the other day, and he says, "Frank, I'm surrounded by Haitians. What do I do?" And I had no advice for Scoops at that time. He says people were riding him down. He does. I don't know why.
He has a very formal relationship with Scoops.
I don't know why. But he dead names me all the
Is Scoops
time.
McNews Guy on scene at the Haitian border crisis?
Well, he was trying to get home. He was trying to get back here to Las Vegas, and he, as we told you last time, he lost his ID and his passport. So he figured he would just come up through Texas. They seem like they're welcoming people, but he got rounded up by these guys with horses, and next thing you know, he's in a big pen with a bunch of Haitians, and he's in Haiti now. He's in Haiti trying to figure out how to help find a boat to get off there. All he can find in the store is water wings.
Fucking water wings.
The water's nice and warm.
apparently Haiti is the water wing capital of the world. All the water wings made everywhere are made in Haiti, and they don't have boats or anything left. They just have this big giant warehouse of water wings. It's one of the only things that wasn't destroyed in the earthquake.
Well, just so all the viewers and everything understand, now water wings, that's where you put a little jetpack on your back, and then it sucks up water from the ocean and makes like little jets that you go up in the sky.
It's a little balloon thing with a hole in it that you blow up, and then you slip it on your arm so you can float like this.
Oh, those Victorian masturbation devices.
Yeah, there's no jet engine involved. It's literally a blow-up thing, a blow-up sleeve that you put on it, and they won't support your. You could.
So it's basically a pool noodle.
Well, no, pool noodle is a solid thing that you don't involve blowing air in to have it operational. I mean, come on, dude. I know you've seen a water wing. It's these two little, it's about, the size of your bicep. You blow into it, and the hole around your bicep fills up with air, and that's one wing. And then you do it the other side, and that's two wings, and then you can kind of float around. And because they're on your arms, they're calling them water wings. You see? It's a play on words. But it doesn't matter. I'm just saying they have a lot of them in Haiti. Now, if you put them on your legs, that's a bad idea, because then your legs flip up to the surface, and that forces your face down in the water. If you have water wings on your ankles, because they won't go up past your ankles, and on your arms, you'll assuredly drown.
So it sounds like what I really need is to put one of those around my neck and just inflate it as high as it'll go.
Again, caller 23. I'm sure you could Google this, but it's not big enough to go around your head. Maybe if you were a pinhead, like a carnival.
I do have a pretty big head, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
With a face on it.
Yeah.
With your face on it.
Now, I wonder if you
get
could
over
take
there. That's what I've been wondering. Out of everything.
What did they swim to Mexico?
How did they get over there? They're east of Cuba.
So how that happened, and this is where they think that this is a recent thing. There was another earthquake in Haiti about 8 years ago, maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, I remember.
And it just So what happened at that point?
I remember the Sarah McLachlan story.
A lot of Haitians went to not South America, but Central America and southern Mexico to work and send money back to the island. Now, that was great until the Mexican economy and the Central American economy kind of shit the bed last year. So these guys thought, hey, we're going to go north, and they just happened to get up here about the same time Haiti hit another earthquake. So those two things are unrelated, and they're just part of the groups of migrants that are coming from Central America anyway, because they've been doing that for the last 2 years. In what do they call them, caravans or whatever?
That's what I was so curious, because I thought it was completely related, which is what I get for thinking. I was just surprised that so many got over there so quickly. But I remember the last.
They've actually been in southern Mexico.
Yeah, which still makes me wonder how they got over there in such bountiful numbers. I mean, did they charter boats? It's only about I want to say 45 or 50 nautical miles from the Dominican side of the island. You got to remember, Haiti's one of two countries on an island. The island, I believe, is called Hispania, and half of it is Haiti, and half of it is the Dominican Republic. And if you look at a map, the tip of the Dominican Republic, I believe, is not that far from the eastern coast of Central America and Mexico. No, you are completely incorrect.
Yeah, it's close to Cuba. You'd have to swim it over to Cuba.
Dominican Republic
then walk
is close
across
to Puerto
Cuba.
Rico. So yeah, that's what you would leave Haiti, and you'd either hit Cuba or Jamaica, and then if you were across Cuba, you could get to Cancun probably by ferry or let's see here, let's measure a distance.
Drug boat, one of them drug submarines.
The point is they didn't come across the Gulf of Mexico.
Miles. It's 133.37 miles. From the tip of Cuba to Cancun, Mexico.
Yep, the Yucatan. That's the Yucatan Peninsula right there.
And that's still a long ways away.
The dick of Mexico.
That's the distance from. That's the breadth of the Gulf of Mexico there to get from there to where they are at the border. So they've been moving for a while. So yeah, for them to all show up at that time was just I guess it was convenient for their plight, It sucks.
Yeah.
But
pretty sure it had to do with Joe Biden or something. Wasn't that Biden?
Okay. Let's make a couple clarifications. Haiti absolutely does share an island with the Dominican Republic.
Correct.
I just got the sides mixed up. Haiti is on the western side. The Dominican Republic is on the eastern side.
Correct.
Yeah, so there is like a north-south line right in the middle of the island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, those are old Haitians. Those are old Haitians that have been in Mexico and Central America for quite a while.
Bummer, dude. Well, it's okay. We'll help them all get over to China. Everybody's forming a line to China. So, save up.
And I'm not.
Save up.
Save up your
Cosby coins and get ready, because you can't eat gold, but you can eat Cosby coins in China.
I just like how we're gonna ship them. It's like you could put them in jail. The only thing worse you could do than putting them in jail is sending them back to Haiti. That's like actually less humane than just jailing them.
You know,
for the rest of their lives.
I remember a former U.S. president having disparaging remarks about places like that, and
it plus every hurricane.
Haiti should be a much better place than it was. Haiti is one of the few places in the Caribbean that had a slave revolt that actually took hold, and they were able to seize their own country from the slaveholders. And Haiti actually should be a island paradise. The corruption that their own leaders have inflicted on them over the last 150 years, since the revolution actually, has just been abysmal. This used to be a French colony. And now, on the same token, you could say this about anywhere where there's abject poverty, and I think that's Haiti's number one problem. We Christian groups, Catholics, evangelists, not Catholics so much. No, Catholics. My parents went there. My wife's parents. They go there and they rebuild the place after the earthquakes and all that stuff. But there's just never not been corruption there. There's like 8 families there that control all the money and all the wealth. It's probably one of the poorest countries and the worst place that you could possibly live, and it should be a paradise. And and how you can tell that is not that the Dominican Republic is a bastion of good politics and good government policies, but the Dominican Republic doesn't suffer near the poverty that Haiti does, yet they share all of the same resources. So again, it just goes to show you Haiti is not as a well-run country and a much more corrupt country than the Dominican Republic, because they really, both the countries on that island you would think have pretty much the same cost of living, the same kind of opportunities and whatnot, and yet that's not true at all. And they're actually quite prejudiced against each other, even though they come from the same island. I know lots of Dominican Republicans that just think Haitians are just awful, and Haitians. And I don't mean to speak for people, and if somebody in the audience can correct me and tell me I'm wrong.
Grand Theft Auto 3, yeah.
And the Haitians are not real big fans of the Dominicans. In New York, there's actually gangs that fight and go to war over, there's just like there's Jamaican gangs, there's Haitian gangs, and there's Dominican gangs, and they're not fond of each other.
Not in a paradise like that, Pease.
What, New York City? Yeah.
Vice City. Oh, boy.
Dude.
So let's see, what else do we have here? We got my favorite part of the show, and that's some of our wrap ups. We had I can close these over, and we have so over the past couple of weeks we've had stories about one or another of our subgenius of the weeks, and I've gotten some recommendations or suggestions for people for us to interview or do subgenius of the week on. So if you've got one, make sure to send me a message, like a name and what's so great about them. One of our last stories was on serial police enthusiast Jeremy DeWitt.
Oh, I love this guy so much. Orlando local.
He is I as a homeboy, I can I get to rep on this story. It's fun. We talked a few weeks ago about how basically the whole Central Florida area was under siege by an egomaniacal narcissist who pretended to have the slightest bit of authority by cosplaying as a police officer. And finally, let's see. Now,
what did he do? He used to
under the guise. It's important. It's important the kids know the backstory. Under the guise of, when someone dies and the motorcycle cops kind of block traffic for a little bit while the funeral procession goes by. Well, a lot of states, they don't offer that service anymore, so people make a company to do it when you're going to have a couple hundred cars, and that's what this guy's company was. They were a funeral escort company. But when you looked at his getup and you saw how he dressed up and how he did his bikes and his cars, you could not distinguish him from a regular law enforcement officer. And he would take this confusion to the absolute maximum, try to pull people over, be aggressive with. So anyway, they finally catch up with this guy and he gets sentenced, as Fox is telling you. I found
him like
his
several
sentencing-
times.
Well, they busted.
Yeah,
him,
but he's been fighting this battle for years.
They
for
busted
years.
him earlier in the year, and that pretty much just gassed him up. But you know, we had a change of hands with the chief of police and the sheriff, which I. What was
And
it?
they were tired of his shit.
Yeah, and they started cracking down on him. Last March, they pulled him over for a concealed weapon, which, as a convicted felon, he's not allowed to have. And he was stating, even though it was a pepper ball gun, even though it was in a holster, and he's like, "How is it concealed if it's in a holster and it's visible?" More than
That's
anything,
concealed.
it was the police finding every opportunity they could to crack down on him, and that really fueled him up. You know, he was arrested, he was released, but that's where we come into, you know, when he has a hearing for bond on that case that we discussed, that he was out on bond for 12 different charges, and so he's been.
Awesome.
He's been playing willy-nilly with everybody, and he toes the line like a psychopath with his crazy side chick, who's been chronicling this on the Metro State YouTube, and allegedly started a Patreon for. So over the last week, it might have been 2 weeks ago now, he was finally charged. At the last bond hearing that he had, it was turning into a mini trial, and they had everything they were going to stack up against him, and he has been sentenced, and he's been given a whopping 18 months with 110 days time served. So he'll be back out
Now,
in
it's also there's
probably
also
a year.
But they did something unique with this, and
They
this
did.
is what I thought was clever of the judge. The judge put a ton of stipulations on him, on what he can and can't do, even when he's released, because when he's released, he has an extended probation, and he is no longer allowed to own any sort of vehicle that has any kind of marking or identification or police equipment of any kind. And that's very arbitrary. They don't list things off. They just say, if you've got something on your car and it looks like police equipment, you're in violation. You're going back to jail. He is not allowed to own body armor, which he had. All of his weapons and equipment has been confiscated. Because my question was, well, he'll just have somebody else run his business. No, he cannot be involved in any kind of security, escort business of any shape or kind in the state of Florida. And like I said, they just listed off things he can't own. He can't own any of his cars that have been modified. He can't own any of the motorcycles. He has to get rid of all of that stuff. He basically has to liquidate almost everything he owns to comply with the probationary rules.
So which leads me to believe because he's got connections, and I wouldn't be surprised if this chases him out of Florida and he goes somewhere else and does this. He was I don't know if he was arrested in Chicago, but he was up in Chicago, and he threw a deck chair at some guy at his car and got into a fight with him, and he totally was like, "Oh, I'm a cop. Oh, but I don't have my badge or gun or anything like that. I'm on vacation." So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes off to Chicago or something like that. But he'll definitely.
We just can't stop lying.
He's just
Throwing a deck chair or whatever, though. That's like common practice if you take somebody's parking spot in Chicago.
I can believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's lucky he didn't get shot for that in Chicago.
I think he was going to get towed or something like that. Like he was in somebody else's space or something, and he was going to get towed. Or I believe a tow truck was involved.
You got it.
That's real common when it's snowing. You don't fuck with anybody's parking spot that they already shoveled
they
out.
Put like a little cone or the chair, the trash can.
Yeah, they put the chair out there. Yeah,
They
exactly.
shoveled it out.
Exactly.
So, Now, listen, you got another update about a show that I wasn't on, but you did with Flux Rutenberg, and it's one of the response to that show is one of the greatest shows of all time. Not so much because I wasn't there, but just because it was such a good show.
It is,
and that's in regards to the Chris Chan controversy, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we did the Chris Chan show a few weeks ago, where I very sloppily and lazily summed up what was going on with Christine Weston Chandler, aka Chris Chan, from the internets, and encouraged everybody to dig in, and you'll find all kinds of stuff. So what had happened is Chris Chan, who is to quote, high functioning autistic individual, and is currently stating is transgender and a lesbian in a male's body.
I think Danny Shagath told me that he received oral gratification from Chris Chan one time.
They're good friends. He gave him that "Don't Think" sticker for his iPad, and I appreciate that.
There you go.
And Christine told someone who leaked to the public that he was basically having sexual relations
with his 80-year-old mother,
with his dementia-ridden mother, and eventually was arrested. And we watched the arrest here on the show. And Chris Chan has perpetrated for a while now that there is a dimensional merge coming. Chris Chan is in a psychic relationship with the Pokemon Mewtwo and I think Sonichu. They're OC, and the dimensional merge is going to come, and and all of these dimensions are going to transcend and merge with each other. And when I heard that, of course, I had to get Chris Chan some Hypercube literature, which I never received a thank you for. And when these come together, everyone's original characters and all their imaginary friends and their loved ones and their deceased loved ones are all going to come back, including his dad, who is also now a Sonichu in heaven.
Oh, he might be pissed.
Chris Chan was arrested, and a few weeks ago, I believe it was supposed to be a trial. There was a continuance issued, presumably from the defense, for more psychoanalysis.
They want more tests done. His lawyers are like, we need some more testing.
And in this time, Chris Chan has written a letter. I believe this was sent
the show?
to straight to me.
Us?
Okay, so the operator of the website, Null, he's on there. Everyone talks about him, so I don't care about this. But a website that monitors people like Chris. This is a letter that Chris has sent to him. I wish I had some touching music to put to this, but we're going to wrap up the show here. But I'm going to read the entire letter by Chris Chan. I'm not going to do a voice, but maybe every...
It's hard to do a voice for a long time, trust me.
For a whole long time.
You'll do it like once, and then you can never do it again. I could try.
Okay. I don't really have a Chris Chan voice. I think it's going to come off as somebody else, but let's try this. I have finally received fresh paper and envelopes, and I feel it advised to inform you of the following, all of which, as you may or will, you have my consent to relay all of the contents of this letter to Joshua, quote, Null, end quote, Moon, as well as forward the physical document to David Hellberg, my attorney. The following everyone should hear and appreciate sincerely, authentic, and spiritually and aura deep. I also swear direct truth with my left hand over my heart as I write this sentence. Firstly, and vitally, it should be made obvious and clear that aside from Andy Warhol, my life events at present and so far can directly be compared and matched with that which have been chronicled of none other than Jesus Christ of Nazareth himself in any Holy Bible. Also, feel free to take any unaltered original photograph of my body's face, neck, and shoulder chest area where I was not wearing the glasses. Then alter the photo to show a naturally growing brown beard, mustache, and sideburns. Now place that photo next to any image of Jesus on or off the cross. Compare. Look deep into my eyes and photograph. See for yourself. I meditate and connect directly and genuinely with the cosmos, both of our universe halves, and throughout the timelines and entire multiverse. So despite some lack of, quote, physical, end quote, evidence, I know the ultimate truths, facts, and details not commonly known or written, drawn, or chronicled. That being stated, all of my life, my mind, eyes, and literally held the constant perception of being the central camera number 000, out of all of the other cameras, infinite from the first-person perspective of all others. And this goes even deeper, and I encourage you to meditate deeply and see for yourself this and all of the truths. And the reason and truth behind my unique perception is direct and mind-blowingly simple. I am literally the real player one, the one avatar, and this body, eyes, mind, and all, is the one God body. And I am literally also Jesus Christ, himself, fully reincarnated and fully reawakened. Even the dimension merge, literally completed and concluding, the same for the collective shift. All of this is literally huge chunks of the past, present, and in-progress events of my second coming. Period. Not all details of the past chronicled scripture writings are accurate, and as a member of the Council of Gods and Goddesses with the strongest and direct of connections, I know details have changed some to a lot in regard to the scriptures of the past. 3 days on earth equal 4 months, with 24 hours, days, nights, in the heaven realm. So yes, this is the one immortal body, and that was none other than I off and on that cross over 2,000 years ago in my past life, personally. Here we have a picture of a crucifix with a heart over the intersection, a horseshoe facing up, and 2 lightning bolts besides each arm pointing toward the bottom of the cross.
I wonder if that's going to be a tattoo or something.
Each and every prayer and praise to Jesus, as of February 1982, at least have all been directed to this body and soul. Malachi 3. Judgment Day is nearing. Know this well. Praise. Moving on, with all of that stated, your last letter. Next, why I had transferred that money on Saturday, July 31st. So I'll break back in here. Another thing that got Chris Chan in trouble was he was issued a protective order, which he was not supposed to have any interaction with his mother at all, and somehow was able to pull, I believe, $750 out of his mother's banking account to his account, and was able to, to their account, and purchased a hotel because sleeping in the car is hard and scary, and got a hotel room, and then went to the mall the next day and spent money at toy stores. And this is while the police are preparing to arrest them. Josh had absolutely no right in relaying that detail publicly. Friday the 30th, forced out of my home and temple, had nowhere else to go. Had less than $50 between pocket money and only a couple of bucks or so in my bank account. No money in my PayPal. Patreon was not due for a payout until Sunday, and SSI was not coming into my bank until Tuesday. Harriet and Tom Ashby cast me out before I even arrived to Midlothian. The van was not majorly uncomfortable. Josh had wired $1,000 to my bank that Friday, but it would not arrive until after or on Monday. Little food and options, and you try bumming in any parking lot without feeling insecure and paranoid. I needed safety and comfort as quickly as possible. That is why I transferred that money. I was going to pay it back in full, even had $150 from Patreon on Sunday, the 1st, that went straight to Barbie Chan's bank account. Barbie Chan. I would have paid the remaining $600 Monday or Tuesday, but Noel had to fail his destined test and betrayed me. like I was betrayed and jailed with a kiss over 2,000 years ago. Now, and as of the past arrest, I have absolutely no way to fulfill that repentance or anything else digital. Malachi 3:6-15. I repeat all that personally.
Christ.
Now, all of you had to over-drama
Why is he
and
quoting-
fail
why is-
your
why is he
worldwide
quoting the
test
Book of
of
Mormon?
faith upon me. Malachi's
You know, those
a
are
book.
quotes
That's
from
a-
the Book of Mormon.
No, that's Malachi. That's the New Testament, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Is
it
it?
is.
I thought
It
that
is.
was
We'll
the
pull
Book of
it
Mormon.
up. We'll pull it up.
It's super obscure. Nobody really reads it.
And finally,
Yeah, it's
all
like Micah.
important popular present FAQ. Quote, why and what the hell? Quote, Emmanuel, God above all other gods and goddesses, and one of my mentors, herself, had deemed me to heal, cleanse, and clear Barbara of all of her past sins and regrets, and improve her abilities directly and personally. As her goddess, we mainly cuddled, soul bonded, and talked, consentful and emotionally and mentally supportive and healing. I did as I had done for and with a chosen few back in Israel over 2,000 years ago in cleansing them. More details for the Bibles that had been overlooked and left out. We gods had eased up on the views of, quote, adultery. Why else do you all have pro-gay, pro-lesbian, pro-trans, and all today in the past decades? Everyone involved were all being genuinely, deeply happy, content, and spiritually satisfied with themselves and each other. As long as all are over the age of consent and the activity was consensual by all parties, all parties involved, and genuinely spiritually happy, it is good. I have written further insights and details and already shared them with David Haleberg. And I get out on second coming or sooner by uninterrupted co-divine intervention. All of your dreams and curses are no more and unrevivable. Judgment Day. Praise us gods. Chris Chan Sanachu, the goddess Blue Heart, and your Lord.
Christian healed the laptop.
Inshallah. Wow, look at that. By invoking the power of Jesus
I
H.
helped.
Chris Chan,
I helped.
the broadcasting laptop has revived live. Somebody call Matt Dillahunty and tell him to fucking suck it. We've got
So,
proof.
Fox.
This is it.
Fox.
The merge is happening. This is really it.
Fox, let me ask you something. Because you know more about Chris Chan than I do. Because I only
Jesus, Chris
recently
Chan.
heard about this.
Yeah.
But, well, regardless, do you think that this is a play for him to? I'd much rather be in a hospital than in jail, or do you think is this just par for the course of his own craziness?
One thing that Chris Chan has a really bad habit of is opening their mouth, and they don't lay off of it. They can't shut the fuck up. And so, of course, whatever, as soon as I got paper in an envelope, I started writing people. And he's like, and I've included my lawyer on it. And so I wouldn't be surprised if the lawyer, first off, let's just pull
I
this.
think this is why the lawyer wants more tests. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, we have to look at the continuance date, what date that was issued versus what day the letter was mailed out. But he does come up on superlawyers.com and martindale.com. That's David L. Heilberg? Heilberg?
Heilberger.
Practicing into his fifth decade, helping clients throughout Central Virginia with assistance in criminal defense, personal injury, and other matters. 1975 graduate of Union College and BA in political science. Heilberg was awarded his JD from Washington Lee University in 79 before admission to practice before all Virginia courts. Subsequently added to practice before the U.S. District Courts for the Western and Eastern Districts of Virginia, the U.S.
At least
Court of
70 years
Appeals
old.
for the Fourth Circuit, and the U.S. Supreme Court. Prior to entering private practice in 1992, Mr. Heilberg spent 3 years as the Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney for Harrisonburg and Rockingham County. For at least the next 10 years, Mr. Helberg was appointed as acting Commonwealth's attorney to serve as a special prosecutor of certain cases in the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle, Greene, and Fluvanna counties. Also, early in his private practice career, engaged in general law practice, covering blah, 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 blah. And
so it sounds like he worked in Virginia, which has a lot of people. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Caller 23 jumping in here. Virginia has a lot of people that have lead poisoning and other mental retardations or whatever. So I'm thinking that's probably kind of where his specialty is lying here. And then Chris Chan, I mean, it's a slam dunk. It's like this guy is
complete lead poisoning.
Yeah, he was like
it
lead
sounds
poisoning.
like he's
as a
100
kid.
years old.
Yeah, he was licensed in 1979, and his practice areas, according to Super Lawyers, registered trademark, is 60% criminal defense. So it sounds like if he was to get anybody in to pick up a public prosecution case or a public defender's case, like he got the lottery in that, and so got possibly the best lawyer that they could. And despite all of those accolades, what this lawyer has to be going through right now, I can only imagine the phone calls they're getting every 5 minutes from goofballs on the internet. Yeah.
That want to be character witnesses.
So I could see where he would tell Chris Chan, you need to, what? Keep going. You believe this? Okay. What else? Keep going. And I mean, there's an established history of that. Chris has always used attention-seeking behavior, and has also bubbled himself off into when Christian developed, what I think the kids call a headspace now. And
pretty sure it was lead poisoning as a child.
You've got lead poisoning plus Sonic the Hedgehog. What are you gonna do? So it's
well, those are good updates. Those are good updates to our Sub-Genius of the Day. And I know that the kids always like to get updated on the stories that we do, because, there are many times we don't have the answers at the time that we broadcast our Sub-Genius of the Day. So it's good to reflect back and see the trials and tribulations of our Sub-Geniuses of the Day and check in with them from time to time, as we'll continue to do. But, Fox, that leads us to our favorite time of the show.
Which one?
The end.
Well, it's the end of the show. The end of the show.
Aren't you gonna,
where I do my apologies.
Okay,
I'm going to do my apologies, but I want to brace the public. I want to brace my viewing audience. I want to brace you kids to understand that this end of the show is coming up. And if we just ended the show, it would be too much of a shock, like jumping into a really icy cold pool. So by getting that heads up, segue from peas, you know that your beloved time for the show will soon be over for this week, but you'll rest assured in the hopes and prayers that next week we'll return again like the phoenix rising from its ashes. And with that, I give you this week's apology. Kids, I'm sorry that tonight's show was a little unstructured, but we had so many different things going on about the X-Day planning and all these different things, and then the Chris Chan revelation, and then, all these different woke things that we try to walk our way through, interpreting Chinese Alibaba sites and the whatnot, and the telemetry that caller 23 brought us to examine. And, only we as doctors could look at this data and give him the answers that he so desperately and emotionally needed. The tears that streamed down caller 23's eyes after I revealed to him the key points in his data that would enlighten him and cause his project to come to a quick and tumultuous end that would satisfy him and his corporate conspiracy slaveholders that keep him in thrall. Well, his thanks was all I needed to make my day go on and feel refreshed and joyous in the knowledge that I am the peas. And with that, I apologize, and that's our show, kids. Maybe we'll find Scoop hiding amongst them Haitians, but I wouldn't count on it.
They're really tall. Well, I guess that brings us to my favorite part of the show, and that's where I say, is it gonna play? You gonna play the song? You're not gonna play the song? Wow, that's weird. My computer's exploding. Now I've angered Chris Chan. I'm scared, Peas.
This Chan shall strike.
You've been listening to Time for the Show, a production of Hypercube Labs. Find out more at hypercubego.com. Normally broadcasting on freethinkradio.com. Give them a listen. New shows, original content every day of the week. And don't forget to check out Packslack, home of Triology soaps and some special Hypercube goodies and music by Reverend Negative and Rubik's Cube. Gosh, they're such nice fellas. Caller 23, you got anything for the kids before you go?
Yeah, do drugs.
All right, we'll see you next week on Time
Goodbye.
for the Show.
Huzzah!
You know what, Peas? Apology accepted.
Nice.